Okay, Simon, what can you tell me about these speakers?
I can tell you about them. They're our new StageSource loudspeakers from Line6. We designed these things for maximum versatility for the performing musician. And that's based on the fact the performing musician plays small gigs, plays big gigs. So can we provide a feature set that's deep enough to accommodate all those different performance scenarios and features? One of the first things you'll notice is the fact we've got this very tall, thin form factor. There's still enough acoustic volume to create the low frequency response. We use two 10-inch woofers and a waveguide 100 by 40 degrees, so one speaker will cover a whole venue. Everybody gets the same frequency response. Very important if you're using one speaker. So let's just get right to talking about the features. If you're a solo performer, right, you acoustic guitar, microphone, you're playing to some backing tracks or maybe a drum machine or something like that, then you're probably going to want to use this panel here. This is our input panel here. It's all digital, so essentially this is a digital mixer built into the side of the speaker. The controls are on the side, so if you're performing next to it, the controls are accessible. We have two mic line inputs. You can see there's a pad on each of those. We've got gain control. We've got 3 bands of EQ with a sweepable mid, so you can really sort of control and tailor that mid frequency, particularly if you're using acoustic instruments as well. We have a modulation effect, which acts as a bit like a chorus or a doubler, so it thickens your voice on the voice. Our Line6 reverb. We have feedback suppression on each of the channels here, and this is a 12-band multi-band feedback suppressor. So you have, it'll search and it will root out 12 different frequencies, problems, and notch those out. You can actually set it to 3 different levels of performance, depending on how aggressive you want it to be. And then on channel 1, if you are using an acoustic guitar on this, we're using Line6 award-winning modeling, our acoustic modeling on this channel here. Particularly if you're using an electroacoustic guitar with piezoelectric pickups, then sometimes it just sounds a little bit metallic. Using the acoustic modeling here, what you're dialing in is you're modeling the body resonance of an acoustic guitar, so you can really warm it up, and it gives some dimension and depth to that electroacoustic, that piezoelectric sound. Our other channel here, it's a straight channel, so if you had acoustic guitar, you use this for vocals. There's a little switch here, stereo link, and it does exactly that. In this position here, it links the performance of this channel to these controls. So, for example, if you were going to go in here with a stereo keyboard, then you could switch it over to stereo and you could perform all the EQ controls for both channels here rather than having to set it twice. So that's quite a useful feature. Also, if you were using it as a PA, so you were going into a with a left-right of a mixer, then you could use this and it will provide some EQ controls for the PA. So that's the performance side of it if you're a combo performer. If you're using it as a PA with another external mixer, then here we have the PA, the business side of it. So you come out of your mixer at line level here on this line level input. We also have these auxiliary line inputs here. So if you're a solo performer and you wanted to add in your iPod or backing tracks, you could use these inputs here. There's also a feedback suppressor attached to this input, right? So if you're going to use another mixer, then you could benefit from having 12 backs of feedback suppression. We've got things like loop through. So basically, if you wanted to daisy chain and analog all these systems, you could take the mix out. So if you were using it and you mixed and dialed your own monitor sound, you said, I like the way my voice sounds with my acoustic guitar or keyboard, you could send that to the mixing desk front of house. We've got master control here, level control for the whole system, which is a 1400 watt system, by the way, tri-amped, 3 amps. Each component does something slightly different. And that's very important for the next bit I want to describe, and that's this speaker mode, smart speaker modes. And this is where we're using the Line6 DSP to actually control and change the electroacoustic system of the whole device. So a lot of speakers in this category have EQ. You apply EQ to the frequency response. So if it's for playback or DJs, then they'll boost the lows and the highs, and they'll just be EQ. Or a floor monitor, then they'll take some low frequency away. What we're doing here to create the versatility is we're actually changing the crossover point. We're changing the attenuation on the compression driver we're changing the EQ, we're changing the dynamic EQ on the different components so it performs optimally. And if you're using it predominantly with an acoustic guitar or something like that, it just sounds musical. And that was another benefit of using 10-inch woofers rather than the bigger 12s, because we can cross them over higher, and so the compression driver does less in the whole system and it just sounds more musical. So our 6 different modes of PA reference. So this has been tuned, the speaker's tuned for maximum output, it's flat. And so, you know, the vocals cut through, it's for forward, maximum sound pressure level output. Playback, it's using dynamic control on the low frequency and high frequency for pre-recorded music. Our floor monitor mode here, when we use these little kickstands, right, there's another one up there. You can see this model down here. You can see this is in its 60-degree mode. We can also use the handle on the side as a kickstand for a 30-degree mode if you've got a deeper stage. So not only as a handle, then you can use that as a kickstand as well. So putting it on its side, there we go, it adapts itself to its monitor position. And in fact, there's a little clever sensor in here, an accelerometer, like you have in your iPhone, that detects which orientation. If you put it on its side, the DSP polls the sensor and says, you know, what orientation are you? And if you're horizontal and you switch it on, then it'll put it into the floor monitor mode, which is important when you talk, you know, when you add it to our complete system. Keyboards, then high-power keyboard monitor. Acoustic guitar, we roll the compression driver up, crossover frequency is much higher, very musical. And our electric guitar mode here. A lot of our customers use our modeling devices for the front end of their guitar sound and just need a high-performance powered speaker cab. And what we've done here is we've modeled an open back 2x12 cabinet for the performance. So you have a 1400 watt backline amplifier that you can use with our HD500 or our pods. We have a lot of control here. One other sensor we do have is in the pole mount, we have an optical sensor. So it knows, the speaker knows whether it's on a pole or not, right? So that in combination with our accelerometer works together with the smart speaker modes, right? So if you're in a keyboard, acoustic guitar, or electric guitar mode, our backline modes, and it senses it's upright and not on a pole, it says, okay, I'm on the stage, I'm in a backline mode, and it beam steers the on-axis performance of the speaker upwards. So it's like a virtual tilt back. So there we've got suspension points. We have 2 suspension points on the bottom and 2 on the top. So it's a very versatile system. Portable, versatile. This guy here, that's the L3T. This is the L3M. And so it's exactly the same, but it hasn't got the input panel. So if you were just going to use it as a monitor or an extension speaker to this system here, then you can, you know, it's a value build on your system. And we can use our Line 6 link for connectivity.